bill does several things. First of all, it cleans up the readoption process that those adopting internationally undergo. That was brought to my attention. One portion of this by Shelley Howder is sitting immediately to my right, and she will speak to that shortly. It also eliminates the duplicative oversight of such adoptions by DCFS. It clarifies that DCFS shall no longer impose additional requirements on Illinois families that already meet federal adoption guidelines. And in addition, the bill specifies that DCFS will continue to assist in post-adoption services, which are becoming more to the forefront as some families struggle with adoptions, and the role of not only adoption agencies but DCFS should be to assist those families when there is need.
I just want to share my family's adoption experience and our experience specifically to readoption in the state of Illinois. My husband and I have 5 children. The last one came to us through adoption internationally from Bulgaria in December of 2010, and her name is Mihaela, and so she's been with our family for 4.5, 5 years now. We were home for 4 years, and we decided we think we should probably go through this readoption. We really wanted the certificate of foreign birth. We felt there was some security in having that specific piece of paperwork. But we'd let some time lapse, about 4 years. So last year ago began going through the process of let's go through readoption, and our attorney said, you know, you'll need a home study. Well, now that home study is a good 5+ years old, and that would need to be, you know, updated. The court would want to see that, and, you know, background checks, you know, just something real simple. Well, my agency, who did our home study, they don't do real simple. They do thorough, and they do what they're supposed to do. And so we just went through the process of starting to repeat our home study. Well, we really did the minimum that was required of us because it's costly and time-consuming, and we did what we thought would appease the court. So last September we had our day in court, and we showed up. Our paperwork was in order, and they felt like it would all be a very simple process. So our attorney, our daughter was assigned a guardian ad litem, so we go to the courthouse, and she takes her off into the corner, and she was 6 at the time, takes her off and kind of asks her, I guess, a couple questions or maybe just talk to her. And then our attorney prepped us and said, you know, the judge will just ask you a few questions, and in speaking to Mihaela, he was being very kind, and he just said, you know, they'll ask your mom and dad if they want to adopt you, and they'll just have to answer a couple questions. It'll be fairly simple. Well, he walked away, and Mihaela looked at my husband and I and said, if the judge asks you if you want to adopt me, will you tell him yes? And that was heartbreaking for me to hear. I could sense that her security in our family it just sort of faded a little bit in that comment. I could see that she was nervous about it. She didn't know what this really meant. And I could see that come up in her mind. But my concern was we had really gone through all the clearances. She came home on an IR3 visa. She was already a U.S. citizen, had a U.S. passport, a certificate of citizenship, a Social Security card. She had gone through all of this process. She was our child, irrevocable, and this court appearance wasn't going to change that. And so it felt like a very redundant process, and it just raised a concern to me of what if, what would a court ever deny you that readoption, and based on what, and what did that really look like? I felt I'm still going to leave this courtroom with my daughter. I might not get the certificate of adoption, and I wasn't sure on what grounds that would ever be denied. So it just raised a lot of concerns, and I was extrapolating out to what this looks like if I had waited 15 years to do it, or before she left our home to do it. So I just felt like this process is something that could be changed for a lot of Illinois families and to not have to go through that.
When we got our original referral in 2009, we had already been approved by Illinois DCFS to adopt 2 children between the ages of 0 and 3. We got a referral for children who were 1 and 7. We have 4 older children, so 1 and 7 fit between the. It was like, oh, that would be good. We hadn't really thought about 2 children that kind of bridge the gap. So we went back to our home study agency, revised our home study to widen the age range, and asked, and they were like, that's fine, that's no problem. So we sent it to Illinois DCFS, and we were sent this letter that denied our adoption. And the reason that they gave was that older children from Russia are a problem in the state of Illinois. And I was new to the process. I was intimidated. Our agency at that point told us, don't push, don't go over their head. I did talk to the supervisor, but I didn't go any farther than that because I felt that I was told that if we were to push too hard, it might jeopardize our ability to adopt at all. And so we did not. And this is actually the picture of our son. We ended up adopting his younger brother. They eventually split up the referral, and they did let us adopt Benjamin, so his younger brother. And his name is Andre, and he remains in Russia. Russians often don't adopt their own citizens. He's in an orphanage in Russia. At age 16, he'll be let out on the streets. And I failed to, knowing his name, seeing his picture, he will always be in my mind. And our son has a brother in Russia that we were not able to adopt because of Illinois DCFS. And so this bill would eliminate that inter-country adoption coordinator, which no other state in the United States has. Our adoption agency, in fact, when we went to them, we said, what state do you live in? Illinois. And they said, it's very difficult to adopt in Illinois. And it's because of this process that you're put through with this inter-country adoption coordinator when it is also a duplicated thing that your home study approves you, USCIS approves you, should be done at that point.